Let me know in the chat, what do you think are the 10 worst 5 stars in the game? Let's kick it off. So, at number 10, a bit of an interesting one. And this is probably the one that stumped me the most because it is quite useful. And that is Roadbuster. And I actually said this in playtest. He does great at removing shields. But what else does he do? I think it's very easy. I think all he needs is some kind of support. I just think you need to add like a shield to him, or shielding area, or healing area. Just give him a very simple, like I said, not a rework something. It's literally just give him, even heal himself. Just give him something very simple. And this is probably the biggest work around out of all of them. And I thought, should we decrease the cost? And I was like, yeah, but it does do quite a lot of damage to one target. So decreasing the cost, it does get a bit one shot and a bit spammy. And basically trying to get away from that. So I'm not too sure about that. But 6+3, let's be honest, once you use it once to get rid of a shield, are you going to use it again? Maybe not for 9 ability points. It's quite expensive. So it's too expensive, but you can't make it cheap. So it's very hard. The range is decent. The damage is decent. But it's just that it just does against a shield, really. That's it. Next up, number 9. Bit disappointed, really. Didn't get the rework that he should have done. Didn't get the buff that he should have done. But yeah, and that bot is Hound. So I actually voted for this. I don't mind saying that. I know people criticise people that did vote for Hound in the vote. And my idea was that I thought they'll sort out the reflection with the resource buildings, which they did, to be fair. But the issue is that it does great damage against resource buildings. But resource buildings don't really do much. You know, and there's cheaper options and better options. And so, plain and simple, I don't think his ability is that bad. I think the ability 11 could be a lot better. I would honestly put the additional fire at like 4,000 damage. But I just think it needs more general damage with the ability 11. And that just stops it from being anyone just leveling it 1 to 10. It means that, you know, you really got to push it and put resources into it to get that extra damage out of it. But yeah, ability 11 just probably double that fire damage, something like that. And next up is a bot that used to actually be my war team, and has just fell from the meta and has got a sort of new replacement. Used to be a good outpost bot, and then over time just didn't keep up with the meta. And that bot is Cheetor. So Cheetor used to be an amazing bot. I used to have him on my cleanup crew, loved him, thought he was absolutely brilliant, and then just started dying. He didn't regen health fast enough. He was losing it. Then they brought out his transmetal core, and I thought, yes, this will fix him. And then they put that it does increased damage to walls, because people said, oh yeah, because he's not getting through walls fast enough. I was like, if I'm using his ability, I don't want him to use it on a wall. I'd wait until the wall's gone. And then it says, when your health drops below 30%, you become invulnerable to damage for 5 seconds, or 10 seconds, whatever it is. Because when you compare his stats to that of Twin Twist, there's no comparison. 40k health. 2,100 per hit, 4 times damage to walls, don't get stuck on walls, and just more anyway because he's a warrior. 356 damage, all at level 64. It's a massive upgraded version of Cheetor. So you got to ask yourself, you know, how can we make Cheetor not quite as good as Twin Twist, because Twin Twist is newer content, so I kind of get it. How can we make it better, but how can we make it a bit more different, maybe? Just a lot of damage and a shield. Dead simple. Next up is a bot I pulled and was instantly disappointed with, and that bot is Strafe. I've tried him in like spam team. I've tried creating like a no skill spam team of like him and Sentius and Laser Optimus, and every time he's the one that dies. He's the one that goes ahead of the pack. You know, Laser Optimus, he throws his discs out and he pretty much stays there and then moves along slowly. Rotorstorm stays put. Love Rotorstorm. Brilliant bot. I actually think he needs 2 things. A lot more damage. And actually, I think he needs invulnerability, because he just gets stuck. And again, invulnerability, like, oh, that's a bit dangerous. We've got FFD to counter that. So there's certain situations where we can't. And I'm not saying go through the roof. I would say give him the same amount of a 5-star as 4-star Sentius, which it doesn't do. It doesn't quite hit them heights. It does do damage to only defenses though, which is a bit, but I used him on a test server. He's maxed out with it, maxed EO core. I think it took out 2 defenses for 5+3. So we've said what, 5 plus 8 plus 11, 19, 24 ability points for 6 defenses. It's quite expensive. Maybe a bit like Pipe's shield, maybe like 80%, or a lot of shielding, but he needs something a lot more than what he even has, you know, with the ability 11 with the smites and all that. It doesn't do much. And 6 was actually my first ever 5-star pull, and I think it says a lot that this is my first ever 5-star pull, and that bot is still at level 63, and that is Skyburst. And dead simple, it's 4 plus 2 for damage in a line. I would honestly go as far as making this 2 plus 2 to make it almost spammy, because you can't take anything out with it really. You're sort of finishing off. It's like a clean-up crew. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Pretty similar to Bumblebee in that sense. Just a nice little clean-up ability. And then you've got Bumblebee doing 6k in an area and stunning. I don't think 2 plus 2 is really unreasonable for Skyburst. Next up, a nice fan favourite, could maybe higher. We're going into now the worst of the worst. I mean, we've been a bit nice with these last 5. These last 5 still have some uses, but this next 5 are going into the worst of the worst. I don't actually have this bot as a 5-star. I am avoiding this bot like the plague. I don't even want to go near that batch, because I don't want this bot that bad. And I have complained endlessly on this channel about this bot, and still nothing from Space Ape. And that is Ultra Magnus. Now, I'm sure that the cons in the chat are going, what? You're crazy, Wozza. Galvatron's amazing. Yeah, Galvatron is amazing. Ultra Magnus is crap. And people say all the time, listen, yeah, but, you know, make Ultra Magnus have Galvatron's ability. But that's a massive rework of all the animations, things like that. He has rockets on him, so the laser beam that Galvatron shoots doesn't really suit. And I think that's what sometimes the cons don't understand. That Galvatron will do great amount of damage to one target. Ultra Magnus will hit like 3, 4 targets with his ability. It spreads over a massive area. So when you see 8k damage or 6k damage for a Galvatron, that 6k for Ultra Magnus is more like 4k and 2k to everything else. And it's just, again, just bringing that cost right down. And I think 3 plus 2 is not unreasonable. The issue with that is Galvatron at 3 plus 2 will be massively OP. So does Ultra Magnus have 3 plus 2? Does Galvatron keep 5 plus 3? Is that fair? Do they change Galvatron's ability to match Magnus's? Do they change Magnus's to change Galvatron? Doesn't really make sense. Bit of a difficult one, but definitely needs a cost decrease. And hopefully, I mean, if they can change the ability, then brilliant. But we're trying to talk through some smaller additions, just giving a bot something rather than reworking it. We don't want to change animations and things like that. We just want to give a bot something, or just change a small thing. I think a cost decrease for Ultra Magnus 3 plus 2 with that sort of wide range. I think you can start using 2 or 3 times in an area, and the abilities will overlap, and you'll clear a bit of an area. And now we'll go one step further, and 4th place is a 5-star that I got for the anniversary event 2 years ago. And again, when Snarl is only level 57, almost 58 after 2 years. I mean, when you look at it, you think, oh, he does 4k fire damage for 15 seconds. So 4k times 15 is 60k damage. That's like what Twin Twist does. It doesn't work out that way. And I tried using him on a test server, maxed him out, and started to think, has he been nerfed indirectly somehow? Has something happened to him? I was lost, because I remember him being really, really good. And just slowly but surely got worse and worse and worse. And I can't help but feel that maybe he's not doing damage that he should. But it's quite hard to tell, because the description is so misleading. I think they just need to increase his damage. Whether that's fixing him, whether the top shot thing affected him, I don't know. Whether it was something else that affected him, I don't know. But I just think that they need to increase that damage massively. And then, you know, you might be able to tie it up with some acid ability, you know, putting acid rather than further away close to your bots, and then letting Snarl run right through it with all that fire damage. Put Megatronus on him as well. Oof, that could be really, really good. But when he's doing, you know, 4k damage, yes, it's only 57, but it's like something like, it's like 4k damage over 15 seconds. 3rd place, again, another bot that I have avoided like the plague. Drift. I like the idea of the ability. When it works, he gets a massive health boost, but then dies soon afterwards. I thought about giving him a, he's got a warrior, he's got a shield, but I think it's a bit unfair to give him that same shield as Pipes and the healing. It'd be pretty much invincible. And I think it's, again, simply a cost decrease. If you can go heal, 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 and do a few zips, then I think that'd be decent. I think 3+1 would warrant that. Just more healing for, not more healing, but cheaper so he can heal himself more, if that makes sense. But yeah, third place, Drift, or Barricade. Sorry, I keep missing the cons. Number 2 spot, again, so a 5-star that I am done with. You won't get it. Never will now, I don't think, unless I'm chasing a particular combiner. And that is Grimlock, the glass cannon. Massive glass cannon. Rushes in, dies. That is literally how this bot operates. Great ability with ability 11. Great damage in the area. I really would give him a shield like Pipes. I've said this a few times, and I think that's sort of the answer for survivability. I think the cost is fine. I think the damage is fine. I think everything about the ability is fine. It's survivability. It doesn't survive long enough. If he had a shield and could stay alive long enough, I'd consider putting him up there with Pipes. I really would. I start to think about these things about, that shield gen cluster and that AoE that he's got and the amount of DPS that he's got. If you can just give him a shield to keep him alive, then yeah. And again, there's a counter for that. We've got the FFDs, so you can counter it if you want. Grimlock, yeah, just give him some sort of shield. And then number 1 on the list. So this bot was, massive in the meta. Massive in the meta. Huge. And I can't emphasize that enough. Huge. And probably still is in lower levels. We asked for this for a 5-star for so long. So long. To the point where we finally got it. And it was so disappointing because we all expected a rework. We all expected something. And that, sadly, is Saber. Do I think he's worse than Grimlock? Do I think he's worse than Drift? Do I think he's worse than Snarl pulling? No, I don't think he's worse than them. But he's worse in a sense that the expectation of him coming out as a 5-star, we thought it would be immense. And he just wasn't. And I've really been racking my brain what to do. I'm like, give him a shield, might just make him into a sack bot. Giving him more damage means that if you do 2 runs, then it's going to take out the base out. And so, we can't give him more range. He can just take out the back of the map on his own. So, sort of thinking, but I do think that a cost decrease again is warranted. That's 8+3 maybe? Quite a considerable cost reduction, considering he was 12+3 beforehand. And I have said in the past that I didn't want him to be a sort of, bot where you could just sort of sack and run back and forwards. But I think that with the amount of healing in the game, that negates his ability damage. With the amount of anti-stun cores in the game with the build bots, I think that warrants him being a lower cost because that counters him. There's a lot of counters for Saber. The MSM, disables him. MSM, anti-stun, reduce that damage down, healing. There's so many counters for Saber that you need to think that he needs to be powerful when those aren't around, and you'll struggle to find a base where all those things are not in place. Everyone runs MSM pretty much nowadays. Some people run anti-electric. We can defend against it. There is ways. So another cost decrease for me. That'll be my suggestion for Saber if it ever comes up again. And that's my 10 worst 5-stars in the game according to me. So let me know if you agree in the comments. Is there anything I've not added in there? What would you change them? But don't forget, we're just doing small changes, guys. Nothing too ridiculous. Let's not change the whole ability and go, yeah, I'm going to make Saber fly to the back of the map. Yeah, let's keep his ability as it is. Just make a slight change. How would you change it? Let me know in the comments.